Hey guys, what's up? So here's a couple of travel tips, a few travel tips. If you're going to London, before you go, there's just a couple of travel tips. Some things that you need to know when going to London. So when you get there, like you have everything you need and you know where you're going and everything like that. Few things, this is gonna really make your London vacation really fun. So, let's get into it. The first thing you need to know is when you book a London trip, booking it for 1 week is not long enough time to book the trip. You have to book the trip for at least like a week and a half or 2 weeks. And I recommend 2 weeks or even like 3 weeks if you can. But I know like a lot of people do not have like 3 weeks vacation in a row. So if you have whatever you can do, if you will not see everything even in 2 weeks, and you will not see like everything even in 3 weeks. So I do recommend going for more than a week, go for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because you're gonna want to see a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things to see, so you're gonna want to see all of it. The first thing you need is you need a power converter, like a plug converter that converts. You plug it into an outlet, and then you can plug in whatever devices you have or anything that you need to plug in through that transformer. It's like a converter. Basically, it's an adapter where you plug that in, because all of the outlets in London are different than the ones in America and Europe. So you need those little power converters. It's a good idea to bring them over yourself, but the one I brought over was like, I brought that over and it broke like the first day, and I had to go buy another one, and I found right at the store they had one for £5. So you can buy another one of these things at the store in case you don't bring one, or you should bring one in case yours breaks or something like that. You can always get another one. They're not expensive. They're like £5 and stuff like that. Another thing is that like the currency is different. So like you have to like really figure out how much everything is, because it sounds like, I'm used to dollars, being American, I'm used to dollars. So pounds are a little bit more expensive than dollars. I think it's like around 70 pounds is $100. So when something says it's 10 pounds, it feels like it says it's $10, but it's actually a lot more than that. So you have to kind of like figure out how much the difference is and stuff in pounds and dollars. But then I find that, you can kind of like get the hang of it, and it's just a little bit different. Because but the thing is that, when you're tipping and you give a tip, like in America, you'll give like a $3 tip, a $5 tip. But then if you give like a £5 tip, that's a lot. That's like $8. It's like an $8 tip. So it's just a lot more. So you have to like figure out what the differences are in that. I found that just a regular credit card worked fine. It converted by itself, and there was just a little bit of a foreign usage charge, and it wasn't really a lot. It was just a few cents for every like $20-$30. They only charged a few cents. It wasn't a big deal. But there's like a lot of great things in London. One thing is that you've got to try the Indian food. The Indian food is fantastic. It's everywhere in London, and the Indian food is the best. And also, you got to go and get the Chinese food, and that's in Chinatown. They have basically all the Chinese food is in Chinatown. You can kind of get Chinese restaurants. There's other areas in London that are Chinese food areas. Like I think in North Kensington, there's a lot of Chinese places where you can get a lot of things to eat. And I just found the Chinese food is really good. But I think that the Indian food is just fantastic. That's like the best Indian food I ever had. It really is, I think, the best food you can get there. And Chinese food is a little bit expensive. It's around 10 to 12 pounds for like a dinner, for like a plate. And Indian food is also like 12 to 15 pounds with a plate. Also, like where I'm from, I'm used to the Indian food and the Chinese food. They kind of bring you like the dish, and they bring you rice, and they bring you soup with it, and they bring you like tea with it and stuff like that. And they bring you like a big plates of it. They don't do that in London. They don't bring you like all of this, all of everything with the plate. Everything is ordered separately. So like you order the main dish, the side dish, the rice, the tea, everything is separate. So you gotta kind of like order it all separately. But I do think it's worth it. Like don't try to like save money and not get the rice because the rice is like 1 pound or 2 pounds or something like that for a bowl of rice. Don't try to save money because like the portions are really small. And if you just get the main dish and skimp on the rice and the other stuff, you're really not gonna eat enough. And the food is just absolutely delicious. So definitely like, just buy everything anyway, even though you have to pay separately for it. Buy the rice, buy the main dish, the side dish, the tea, or whatever you want to drink, instead of just buying just one dish and then not eating the other stuff because it's not big dishes and stuff like that. Besides that, there were like a few restaurants that I thought were just like amazing. One was a Thai place. And what was interesting is it was the only Thai place, and it was between, I don't know the actual address, but it was right. It's like the only Thai food place, and it was between Soho and Chinatown, and it's right there. It's like the only one. It was on the second floor, and it was probably the best Thai food or any kind of food I probably ever ate anywhere. However, I did find the bill just on a regular dinner went up to like 22 pounds, including the tip and everything like that. So it's really expensive, but at the same time, it was actually like really good food. Like it was delicious. So there was that. And the parks are fantastic. So check out the parks, check out Hyde Park, all of those parks, Regent's Park, all of those parks. Just walk through them. They're beautiful. They're fantastic. And don't think like you're gonna just like take a couple of hours and walk through the parks. If you're not big on parks and you only spend a couple of hours there, that's fine. But if you like parks, you might spend like the whole afternoon or the whole day walking through those parks because they're beautiful and they're big. They're huge parks. They're not like these little parks. They're these just giant parks, like especially Hyde Park, huge park. And another thing is if you like riding bicycles, you can ride a bicycle through Hyde Park, and that's a lot of fun. The only thing about the bicycle is you have to like take it and then you have to park it. Like you basically rent it. Like it's real cheap. It's like £1 or something. And then you rent it as like a rack of bicycles there. And then you rent the bike and you can pretty much use it all day for £1. But then you have to park it in the same place where you got it from. You can't park it into a different area or they'll charge you like £7.50 for parking in the wrong place. But those bikes are really, they're hella like, they're wobbly. They're really hard to balance on. I've ridden bicycles all my life and I'm really good at it. And those bikes were really hard to ride. They were really wobbly and they were hard to ride, but they were still fun to ride and stuff like that. When getting a hotel, try to get a hotel that's close to the center of London, the center of the city. Don't get anything too far away because it becomes like a whole hassle and a whole trip just to like go into the city and go into your hotel and go to the city and go to the hotel. Because if it takes too long, you're gonna want to stay out late. And then you don't want it to take like an hour to get to your hotel or like, any more than like maybe, like 20 minutes at the most to get back to your hotel. Because if by the time, it'll be late and then like some of the buses don't work and then some of the trains don't work when it gets later. So if it takes like a long time to get to the hotel, it's gonna be hard to get there. It's just like a whole trip because like in the morning you want to get to where you're going early and that's hard to do, and then you want to get back to your hotel before it gets too late so that you can be up early the next day in the morning and go out. So if you're spending a lot of time on the buses and trains getting back and forth from your hotel, it's really hard to do. The taxis are real expensive, so if rather than like if you're gonna use taxis, you might as well just like spend the extra money and just get a hotel that's closer to the near of town of the center of town. And instead also like the trains, at some of the trains and some of the buses don't work after a certain time, like after like 12 o'clock or something at night, they don't work. So you kind of like, it depends. If you're, some of the buses do work. So if your hotel is next to a 24-hour bus, that's like the most optimal thing, because the trains don't work after 12 or 1 o'clock or whatever, that they just stop working. So yeah, also the buses don't work after a certain time. So the thing, so if your train, if your bus, if you're next to a, you know, if your hotel is by a bus route that's a 24-hour bus route, try to figure this out ahead of time. That way you can just take the bus whenever, and at night the bus is fast because there's no traffic. So what would take usually like half an hour or 40 minutes on the bus to get to your hotel will take you like 15, 20 minutes. Well, maybe 20 minutes. If it's like a half hour, it'll take you like 15 minutes to get back to your hotel. It's just because there's no traffic at night, and the buses really do come like every like 10 to 20 minutes that they're at night. So they're real easy to do. If your hotel is not next to like a train that works at night or a bus that works at night, the only way to go is taking a taxi, and the taxi will cost you like at least 10 pounds one way just to get back to your hotel. So a little bit expensive, but definitely recommend getting hotels closer to town. When you get like the hotels that are further away from town, they're better hotels, they're higher stars, they're higher rated, and they're less expensive. So those hotels are great. They look great on paper, but if they take like longer than like 10, 15 minutes on the train to get to where you're going, if it's really more than a 10-minute trip, if it's like more than just a couple of miles away from the center of town, it's going to be really, really hard to get back and forth. And if your hotel is right in the middle of town, then it's usually really, really, really expensive. It's convenient, but it's expensive, and you are going to be in a busy city, and it might be a little bit loud. So I recommend getting a hotel like the sweet spot is kind of like getting a hotel like a mile away, like maybe 5 to 10 minutes on the train, which is on the underground tube away, which means like if it's maybe 5 or 6 stations away, or 6 to 7 or 8 stations away, that's the max. Like don't get anything more than like 7 or 8 train stops away from the center of town, because then it just gets like hard to get. But if you're there, if you're like a few stations away from town, you'll be able to just, you know, hop on the tube and then go to where you're going real fast, which means like you'll get into the tube and like 10 minutes later you're in the center of town. So that all actually works, and it also works well because like sometimes when you're going to certain places, they're not in the center of town and you have to make connecting stops. So you want it to take longer than maybe like 20 minutes, half an hour to get where you're going. Those hotels are a little bit less expensive, and they're like, but they're also conveniently there. I would recommend look under like how the hotel is rated and how much it costs, and like try to figure out the difference. You know, look at the price of the hotel as opposed to what the ratings are. And I think you should look at the ratings more than you look at like the amount of stars in a hotel. Because a 3-star hotel with a really high rating is better than like a 4-star hotel with a lower rating, right? So if you can get a nice rating that's not too expensive and it's in a decent area, it's not like more than like a mile or 2 at the most away from the center of town, you're golden and it's perfect. So definitely like so that's a great hotel to be at. Check out the parks, check out the museums, check out the food. And also, yeah, you know what? Like London is known for its tea, and that's great. I do find the tea there is pretty good, but honestly, I think the coffee there is phenomenal. Like the coffee in London is huge, and they're big on, instead of like regular kind of coffee, they're big on cappuccino. And cappuccinos are great. They're just like frothy milk on on coffee, and then check out their coffee. It's just, the coffee there is just fantastic. And I know it's known for its tea, and everyone's like, oh, you know, the best thing about London is the tea, and the tea is so good. I found the tea is good, honestly, but I found the coffee is just phenomenal. So I don't recommend going to like your regular Starbucks, because the Starbucks is there. They just have Starbucks coffee, and they're like, Starbucks coffee is the same no matter where you get it, and it's not really that great, as I found there. Like sometimes you'll get good Starbucks coffee, but I found like if you go to the little cafes, if you go to the little restaurants, the little coffee places, the bakeries, the like the places where they have like the cupcakes and stuff like that, and you know, those kinds of bakeries have phenomenal coffee, and you can pretty much get it anywhere in town. And they're big on the cappuccinos, and those are like the best. So if you get coffee, try the cappuccinos. They're fantastic. So there's just a few tips. I'm gonna put more tips. If you guys like this kind of tip videos about London, let me know in the comments. And please like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in another video. And let me know if you want any more tips or any questions about London. I'll be happy to answer. Take care, guys, and have a great day. London!